So we're 45 days into the Biden presidency, and he has yet to hold a presser. At this point in past presidencies, every president, from Reagan had addressed reporters, some of them multiple times. So why the delay, and when can we expect the president to hold a press conference?
Well, first, as all of you know, the president takes questions several times a week. He took questions actually twice yesterday, which is an opportunity for the people covering the White House to ask him about whatever news is happening on any given day. We look forward to holding a full press conference in the coming weeks before the end of the month, and we're working on setting a final date for that, and as soon as we do, we will let you all know. But this president came in during a historic crisis, two historic crises, a pandemic like the country had not seen in decades and decades, and an economic downturn that left 10 million people out of work. So I think the American people would certainly understand if his focus and his energy and his attention has been on ensuring we secure enough vaccines to vaccinate all Americans, which we will do by the end of May, and then pushing for a rescue plan that will provide direct checks to almost 160 million Americans. That's where his time, energy, his focus has been. But in the meantime, he takes questions multiple times a week and looks forward to continuing to do that. And as soon as we have a press conference set, we'll let you know.
Sure. Those sprays, though, are not an ideal forum for us to be asking questions. He can't hear us half the time. We get maybe two questions and then we're shuffled out. So why hasn't he answered questions from the press at this point? Is it just that he's too busy?
I think he's answered questions, I believe the count is almost 40 times. So, and I would say that his focus, again, is on getting recovery and relief to the American people. And he looks forward to continuing to engage with all of you and to other members of the media who aren't here today. And we'll look forward to letting you know as soon as that press conference is set.
And on the AUMF, can you talk a little bit about how the president sees, I wanted to quote your tweet, you talked about the establishing a new, quote, narrow and specific framework for a new AUMF. How does he see those contours, and what's his response to somebody like Tim Kaine, who said that the president should have to consult Congress on something like the strike in Syria last week?
Well, let me take there's a couple questions in there, so let me see if I can address them all. First, we did consult and notify the Gang of Eight, which is a very appropriate approach, as well as, which of course represents many committee heads and leaders. We then had ongoing consultations and briefings with members following the strikes, including classified briefings, which we offered quite broadly from the administration. We are quite confident because we had a full legal review and process in both our domestic and legal and international authorities in conducting those strikes. And the president has been obviously a close ally and partner with Senator Kaine on a number of initiatives in the past. He agrees that the AUMF is 20 years, has been around for 20 years, and it's long overdue for it to be updated. What our announcement was, or what our statement was a reference to, I should say, is an openness to having a conversation about what the scope of the narrow and specific framework should look like moving forward. So we want to have those discussions, and of course those will happen, most of them privately, and then we'll look forward to sharing with all of you what the outcome is.
Sure, and then one more on the jobs numbers. One number that economists have highlighted as persistently problematic is the labor force participation rate. It remains low, sort of consistently. What is the administration's plan in dealing with that and getting more people to looking for jobs going forward?
Well, you're absolutely right, and Jerome Powell actually spoke to this, just for others' reference, which I'm sure you're tracking. But and the concern that the labor force participation rate may mean that the unemployment rate may not accurately depict the number of people who are out of work, and obviously the 9.9% unemployment rate for African Americans is a good example of a reflection of that. We are taking a across-the-board approach to ensuring we are helping people get back to work and get through this difficult period of time. Part of that, of course, is getting the American Rescue Plan passed to get people the relief and support they need as a bridge for this period of time. But the president has also talked about many components of his Build Back Better agenda, which we look forward to speaking to and in the future after we get the American Rescue Plan passed and the relief into the arms of Americans. And he believes there are a number of additional ways that we can help put Americans back to work, including good, clean-paying infrastructure, or well-paying, I should say. Sorry, it's a Friday. Well-paying infrastructure jobs that are good union jobs. He believes there are many industries of the future that can help put more people back to work. But I will note one interesting and actually very troubling statistic. per our economic team, I'm not an economist, as you all know, but this is their analysis, is that more than 69,000 educators were laid off. And so certainly part of our objective too here with pushing for the American Rescue Plan is also getting relief out to schools who want to reopen and bringing teachers back, ensuring that teachers can be employed for the long term and can ensure there are smaller class sizes is also part of what that package will help address. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Does the president have any thoughts on the filibuster, the so